Hi, happy Tuesday. It's Healthy Mama B. I am here live from North Carolina, and I am hoping that my phone stays straight because it's falling all over the place. I hope you guys are having a great day, and we're going to talk today about emotional eating, and I have a little bit of a surprise for you, so I'm hoping that you guys are going to join soon. And while we're waiting for folks to join, I just want to make sure to remind everybody that I do have some new blogs out on my Healthy Mama B website. It's healthy-mamab.com, so please make sure to check those out. Hey, Michelle, thanks for joining. Good to see you. Hey, Robbie, nice to see you too. I have my phone propped up here, so hopefully it will work. Well, hello, Esther. Thanks for joining. I'm trying some different times, so hopefully this will work better for different people so that they can check out my live sessions at different times. Today we're going to be talking about emotional eating, which is a really important topic when you're trying to lose weight. If you've had a history of eating emotionally, then this is going to be a great half an hour for you. So thanks, Michelle. I'm so glad you like my site. I appreciate that. I put a lot of work into it, and so is my son Josh and Robbie, and it's sort of been a family thing. So thank you. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you joining tonight. We're going to get started in just a couple of minutes, and I was just sharing that I wrote a blog this week about about regrets and how sometimes we have a tendency to regret a little bit, and that kind of falls into emotional eating as well. So hopefully you'll have a chance to read that. Hey, BA, thanks for joining today. And Barbie, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate your support and listening in today. It's going to be a good session. We're going to talk about emotional eating, which I think affects most people. Most folks that are overweight or have a tendency to overeat do eat emotionally, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how we can better understand emotional eating. We're going to talk about things that you can do to help overcome them. Of course, this is not the be-all, end-all. It's not the biggest... It's not going to solve all your problems, but it may make you think about things a little bit differently next time you go to eat emotionally. I can tell you I did not have a very good day myself, and there were a couple of times I went to the kitchen and was searching for food like a hunter looking for its prey. And what really helped me keep on track today was the fact that I don't have a whole lot of trigger foods in the house, and whatever I did have I wasn't in the mood for. I wanted sugar today, and I had nothing in the house, so I was grateful for that. There were plenty of chips and pretzels, but that was not what I wanted, so I was very happy that I didn't have what I really wanted, because today was an emotional day for me, and I was able to avoid that. So that was one tool that helps me, is trying really hard not to keep trigger foods in the house. I know what I love, I know what makes me want to eat, and I try to avoid keeping those in the house. Sometimes I don't have the opportunity, with the kids, or, when we have parties or guests over, I have to make sure that there's a lot of different options for everybody. But ultimately, what we're going to talk about today hopefully will help not just you, but me. It's a good reminder. Before we get started, I do want to share something with you. I was going through my closet over the weekend, and I found a pair of pants that I hadn't seen in quite some time, and I tried them on. And so I thought, what a fun thing to show you guys my old pants. Now, in a couple of my blogs, I talk about my size 20 pants. So I want to show you, I actually put them on. These are my size 20 pants. And there was a time when these pants were so tight that I couldn't even close them, which is just absurd to me. I just can't believe it, because these are my size 20 pants. I could actually fit probably another person in here. Look at that. It's just unbelievable. So this is just a testament that you can overcome emotional eating. It may not go away 100%, but you can control it a lot better than you have been in the past. I am a testament to that, because I am an emotional eater. I always have been. So this is my 20, and now these are my 10s. So hopefully, not perfect. I've got a little muffin top, but that's okay. That's my big surprise for today. But I just was, it's just unfathomable to me that this was me. I mean, it doesn't even fit on the screen. Do you see that? I mean, the pants don't even fit on the screen, which is amazing. It's amazing because when I started out, I never thought I could do this. I never, ever thought I could do this, but I did it. And folks, if I could do this, you could totally do this. From this to this. Not perfect yet, but a hell of a lot better. All right, so there's my pitch. If I can do it, you can do it. And that is the truth. So let's talk about emotional eating. I am totally going to keep these pants forever. I will never get rid of them. What's funny is that they were my favorite pants when I lived in Florida. They're 3/4 pants, so I would wear them all the time. And when I moved up here, I had gotten even heavier than I was when I lived in Florida for a lot of different reasons. A lot of it was emotional. And I ate to soothe my anxiety. I ate to soothe my sadness. I ate when I was happy. I ate when I wasn't happy. I ate when I was stressed, and I was under a lot of stress. So let's talk about emotional eating because it's really important that we understand. You know, the concept of emotional eating is really turning to food for comfort, for stress relief, or for some kind of a reward to satisfy hunger. And some people also think that, you know, if they do really well on their meal plan all week, then they can have a cheat day. And I do that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's important to just keep things into perspective. If you're going to do that, make sure that you're doing it as a temporary situation and not a whole weekend long celebration of your success, because if you do a whole long weekend success, then you might actually undo all the hard work that you went through during the week. So keep everything in perspective. Most people who eat emotionally tend to feel really powerless over their food cravings. When they're feeling that emotion, they automatically start to think, how can they soothe it? And it just becomes this automatic learned behavior where they go automatically to food. If you've ever been really full after dinner, but you've gone for dessert afterwards, you know, because you're feeling depressed or you're feeling sad or you feel very, you know, upset about something that may have happened during the day, or you miss your kids because your kids are off at school, or, you know, something happened with your significant other or your ex-significant other. We tend to turn to food sometimes because we think that food is going to make us feel better. We try to fill our emotional needs with food rather than filling our stomach. But using food as a pick-me-up is not necessarily a bad thing, right? We use cake to celebrate birthdays. We have holidays, you know, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. We celebrate with food, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But it's when we tend to use food as our primary coping mechanism in life, that's when it becomes more challenging. When your first impulse is to go to the refrigerator when you're upset with something, if you're feeling angry, if you're feeling lonely, stressed, exhausted, or bored, then you wind up developing a very unhealthy cycle for yourself. And the real problem and the real coping mechanism is never really developed. So you never address the true problem because you're eating it, and you never learn how to effectively cope because you are essentially using food to help dull whatever feelings you're experiencing. So whatever emotional hunger you're feeling, it's important to remember that whatever that emotional hunger is, it's emotional. It's not a physical hunger, and it's never going to be filled with food. So you can eat, and that's why we binge when we're emotional, because we try to fill the void. We try to eat as much as we can to try to make it go away, but ultimately it doesn't. And what the result is it winds up becoming more of it's a cycle. Okay, so you eat because you feel bad, and you feel good while you're eating because you think, you know, you're trying to soothe yourself with the food. But then after you're done, you're full. You feel disgusted because you ate so much, and then you feel guilty because you've eaten what you've eaten. Most of the time, they're not healthy options. It's usually a trigger food or trigger foods that you go to. Like I said, mine are sugary cakes, cookies, any type of chocolate. You know, if I really want to go on a crazy binge, I'll even, you know, ice cream, birthday cake, popcorn, really almost anything. And then once you go into that non-thinking place where you're just eating, you feel guilty afterwards. So it's this perpetual cycle. And then it's hard to get back on track after you've done that also, because you just feel like you've thrown it all away. All this hard work and exercise that you've done, all of this effort that you've put into it has all been thrown away with this one emotional episode, this binge episode, and here you are, and you've blown it. But ultimately you haven't. You know, realizing that you have binged, realizing that you're eating emotionally, those are positive things. Okay, so don't delineate that. Make sure that you own that. But even more importantly, know that you have an opportunity. Every day is day one. Every minute is minute one. You have an opportunity to put the food down. When you realize you're in that emotional state, put it down, have a glass of water, walk away, and learn a different way of coping. Okay? So I want you to ask yourself a couple questions, okay, to determine whether or not... And yes, Esther, you're right. It is so hard to switch from mindless eating to mindful eating, because it's being conscious, right? When you're mindless eating, when you're in that binge, when you're in that emotional state, you know, think about it this way. When you're angry and you're upset and you start to cry, right? You sometimes tend to cry without any level of control. You know, so you know, you cry, you scream, you just become this sometimes a raging banshee. It doesn't happen all the time, but there are times when you just feel that level of discontrol in your life. And when that happens with food, you're completely, it's sort of like an out-of-body experience sometimes. If you've ever experienced that level of emotional eating, you just go for whatever you have and you just eat and you eat and you eat until you just feel satiated. And sometimes you just don't feel satiated, but you run out of food. Being mindful, we're going to get to in a little while, is being conscious. It's being conscious of how you feel. It's owning up to it. And it's being conscious of what you're putting in your body. And that's one of the keys to success in being you know, being able to lose weight. You have to be conscious of what you're putting in your body. And that's one of the reasons why tracking your food is so important. So Inez, thank you for joining. And Lisa, good to see you too. Thank you all. And Michelle, in terms of stress relief and booze, you know, in my last session, we talked a little bit about booze, and we talked about how booze, you know, is empty calories. So you have to determine whether or not that's something that's worth it for you. You know, if you exercise and you're not into losing weight at this point, then, you know, it's up to you. It's just a conscious decision, and you can offset those calories with healthier options during the day. So let's try to figure out if you're actually an emotional eater. So ask yourself a couple questions. One, do you eat more when you're feeling stressed? Okay, if you eat more when you're feeling stressed, then I want you to press the heart button on your screen. And let's see how many people who've joined today eat when they're actually stressed. I don't have a heart button on my screen, so I can't press it. But if I could, I'd have a heart screen right up there. Hi, Lisa. Nice to see you. So if you eat when you're stressed, press the heart button. Okay. Do you eat when you are not hungry or when you're full? If you eat when you're hungry or when you're not full, press the little thumbs up button, because you know what? That's somebody who's eating emotionally also. It means that you're full, but you still want something in. You just need that thing. Do you eat to feel better or to calm or soothe yourself when you're sad, you're mad, you're bored, or you're anxious? Do you reward yourself with food? So if you've had a really good day, if you've had a wonderful day and you exercised a lot at the gym and you think, oh, you know what, I could really go for some ice cream, so I'm going to have ice cream. And instead of eating like, you know, one scoop of ice cream, you have like, you know, a big bowl of ice cream. That's emotional eating too. Does food make you feel safe? And do you feel like food is your friend? I mean, I remember when I was really heavy, the best feeling in the world was when I went to the grocery store and I came home and my house was full of food. Can't explain it, but it made me feel safe. Anything could happen in the world and I was good because I had food. The house was packed. Everything was good in the world. And You know, now there are some weeks that I forget to go grocery shopping. Of course, when, you know, Juliana's with me, there's food in the house, but, you know, it's, you know, it's a way to soothe yourself, you know, so does food make you feel safe? You know, and are there times that you feel powerless over food? You know, are you driving by a restaurant that you really love and you're kind of hungry, so you just have to have that, so you drive through and you get yourself something? Or if you notice that there's leftovers in the fridge, do you absolutely have to, you know, get yourself something? You know, because you have to have it, or you're afraid that somebody might take that last piece of cake, so you're going to eat it before somebody else can grab it. Okay, all of these factors are emotional eating. Okay, so, you know, if you've answered yes in your mind, or put, you know, little thumbs up or little hearts on the screen to any of this, then I want you to really pay attention to the next section of our talk today, because we're going to talk about how to differentiate between physical hunger and emotional hunger, because that's really key. Okay. And I'm glad to know that I'm not the only one who used to feel so happy with their fridge full. I don't know why. Nowadays I go to the grocery store and it doesn't even faze me. I don't feel happy. I feel relieved that I don't have to go to the grocery store again because that errand is done. But there's no feeling of safety, because at this point in my life, food doesn't have that same level of meaning to me. Food is not there for comfort. Food is there for survival. Food is there to enjoy. I still enjoy eating very much, but it's there because I have to eat, not because I want to eat all the time. So there's a big difference. So when we're talking about emotional hunger versus physical hunger, think about the times that you've actually been really hungry, or the last time you felt really hungry. It's important to remember that emotional hunger comes on suddenly. It really, when you're feeling emotional and, you know, you're stressed out about something, it's going to go ahead and it's just going to hit you really quickly. Okay. A physical hunger is something that's going to gradually increase. So as the day progresses, as time increases, you're going to notice that you get more and more hungry as time goes on. That's the difference between emotional and physical hunger. So, you know, think about these things when you're starting to feel hungry and you want to go for food. Ask yourself, is this an emotional hunger or is this a physical hunger? You know, when was the last time I ate? What is going on in my life right now that may be making me feel a little emotional? Am I reacting to what's going on in my life and wanting to eat because of that? Did I just get off of a bad phone call? Did I just get news from somebody that's making me upset? Did I just get a bill that is upsetting me because it's a lot of money? You know, did I just get on the scale this morning and I realized that I was a little bit higher than I was yesterday, and that's discouraging, so I want to eat because I blew it anyway, so what's the point? Okay. Think about the difference between the emotional and the physical hunger. Keep in mind also that with emotional hunger, you usually crave specific foods. Like I had said earlier, for me, it's sweets. Anything with sugar, I'll eat. So I tried to keep those foods out of my house, unless it's, you know, a special occasion or whatever's going on. So if you notice that you're craving, you know, chocolate, or you're craving ice cream, or you're craving, you know, something in particular, it could be because you're feeling emotional and you want to eat emotionally. Okay. We talked about the fact that emotional eating often leads to mindless eating. And, you know, sometimes when we're feeling that way, when we're feeling emotional, we'll grab a bag of chips, or we'll grab a bag of cookies. And before you know it, the whole bag is gone. We eat mindlessly. It's like we lose our mind when we eat emotionally sometimes, because we don't pay attention to what we're doing because we're in that emotional state. Emotional hunger is not located in your stomach, right? Rather, it's in your head. So keep in mind, you know, ask yourself, okay, am I feeling this hunger in my body? Is it a physical hunger? Am I, you know, do like a check on your body. You know, am I feeling it physically? Am I feeling it emotionally? Am I thirsty? A lot of times hunger can actually be just the fact that you're thirsty. And oftentimes I'll have a big glass of water or a cup of tea or something before I eat something, because I know that if I drink it, likely I won't be hungry afterwards. And I try to avoid eating whenever I just feel like it, because I eat a really good amount of calories every day, and I shouldn't be hungry as consistently as I am. So I know that even though I've lost the weight, there are times that it's still an emotional thing. Like I said earlier today, it still hits me, and it's going to continue to hit me because it's just part of who I am. And I'm good with that. You know, we talked a little bit about how the emotional hunger will sometimes make you feel, you know, regret or guilt or shame, and how you just can't own that. If you've decided to eat emotionally, then eat emotionally, right? You were in that moment, you were mindless, but then you're done. When you're done, you're done. Get rid of the food, throw it away, make sure it's not in your house anymore. Own up to the fact that you did it. You're human, you're not perfect. Put it away, and then just move on with your life and get right back on track. You know, there's no reason for you to stop and sabotage yourself consistently on an ongoing basis because you had one setback, okay? Keep in mind, you can't do this every day, all right? Because if you do, you're never going to be successful. But as you become more conscious of your emotional eating, okay, it's all about consciousness. It's all about mindfulness, like Esther had said. It's really important, okay? All right, so Michelle wants me to show my pants again. I'll show you my pants in a minute. I'll put them back on in a second. So think about, so we talked about, you know, the differences between the emotional and the physical hunger. And we're going to also talk about how to identify your emotional eating triggers, okay? Think about what makes you hungry, okay? What makes you hungry? Is it stress? You know, does stress make you feel like you have to eat something? Is it stuffing your emotions? You know, do you have a hard time just handling emotions in general? And because of that, you have a tendency to eat. Feeling bored. You know, sometimes I hear from folks, and a lot of my friends will share this with me, that they will, hey Francie, hi Ann, thanks for joining. A lot of folks will tell me that they, after dinner, will go in front of the television with a bag of something and they'll just sit and eat, and it's mindless. You know, is that emotional? Probably, because you're eating out of boredom. It's also eating out of habit. So it may not necessarily be tied, right, to an emotional trigger, but you're eating because you're bored. There's nothing else to do, and you have to have that hand to mouth motion. So get out of the habits. You know, it takes a long time to develop your habits. It also takes time for you to get out of those habits. If you stop taking the food in front of the television, then you'll stop eating it. And I think I shared this before, but when I was at my, you know, largest, and I was, you know, really gung-ho on the weight loss, which I still am, but, you know, I have more flexibility now. But when I was incredibly strict with my diet, I shut the kitchen down as soon as dinner was over, and I was done. I didn't take food out. I didn't eat anything that I wasn't supposed to eat. When I was done with dinner, I was done. And if I absolutely had to have something, I would get one of those little Jell-O 60-calorie packs, and I would eat that if I really craved something sweet. But don't do that eating mindlessly because of boredom, because it's just sabotage and it's wasted calories. Sometimes, you know, when we talk about habits, some of these habits, you know, transfer back all the way from childhood to now, right? You know, dessert. I remember growing up, and I know my mom is on this call, and I don't mean to, you know, embarrass my mom or anything, but dessert was a big deal in our house when we were growing up. If you ate all your food, you got to eat dessert. And dessert was always cool because we had this amazing like Jewish bakery right across the street from our house, and there was always whipped cream and chocolate and cake, and it was like amazing. Dessert was always phenomenal at my house every single day. And growing up, I loved dessert, and guess what? Dessert happens to be one of my favorite things. Now, is that a terrible thing? No. I just have to be really careful now when I eat dessert and when I don't. And when I choose dessert, the kind of desserts that I choose. Nowadays, when I choose a dessert, it's going to be a 100-calorie dessert. It's going to be fruit. It's going to be maybe that Halo ice cream that I love so much. It's going to be the little Jell-O snacks. It's going to be, you know, sometimes those little 100-calorie cookie things that you get in the little packages, like Oreo cookies and Chips Ahoy cookies. So I try to make sure that when I have dessert and the little goodies that I love, it's going to be healthier options for me, because I'm not going to dive into a birthday cake anymore. That was the old Gail. That was this Gail. Okay, and I'm going to show this to you now because it's a great transition. It was this Gail. Okay, this is the size 20 Gail. These were the pants that were too small on me, that were so tight that I couldn't even close them anymore. But I refused to buy bigger clothes. So I had a choice. I was either going to wear these until they split opened, okay, and you can see some of these in some of my before pictures, and they're so big that they don't even, I actually have to go back here so that you can see the entire thing, okay? This is the old Gail. This is the Gail that would eat the entire birthday cake if she had the opportunity. Okay, this was the Gail that would also go to the store and, you know, go to town, and if I really wanted something, I would eat it, and I would eat the whole thing and you know, just devour it. Okay, and this is the new Gail. Okay, this is the Gail that's wearing the size 10s today. Not the perfect body. I'm 47 years old, but that's okay. And you know what? I'm very happy with where I am in my life right now. I do eat emotionally sometimes, but when I do, I keep it under control and I make better choices, and so can you. So remember, when you don't think you have the control, think of this Gail, okay? Because this Gail, who loves dessert and loves her goodies, did it, okay? And if I can do it, you can do it. Absolutely. And it wasn't that hard in hindsight. Going through it, it was a little tough. There were some days that were really tough. But you know what, in hindsight, it's doable. It's so doable. Anybody can do it. All right. And then there's social influences, right? Social influences. When we're out and we're about and we've got folks that are with us, they like to eat. And if you're with people, like, you know, I'll use my son as an example, and my daughter, they don't have to watch what they eat. They've got great figures. Robbie doesn't have to watch what he eats. He's in great shape. So they order whatever they want. Does that bother me? No. Did it ever bother me? Not really, no, because technically I could order whatever I want to. I just have to work it into my calories for the day, right? So if I know that I'm going to have pizza for dinner, then I'm going to work those calories in for the rest of my day and have better, healthier options during the day. Don't have pizza every night. I have pizza maybe once a week, maybe once every couple of weeks. But ultimately, it's not eating a half a pizza. It's eating one, maybe two slices of pizza that I work into my calories every day. Sometimes you'll have people in your life that will try to influence you. You know, have a drink, have a couple of drinks, have a piece of cake, have a couple pieces of cake. It's okay. It's all right. Nothing's going to happen to you. You're too skinny. You're too this. You're too that. You know your body, and you know who you are, and you know what you can and you cannot have. And if you don't want to eat it, then don't eat it. Say, no, thank you. I appreciate it. I really love your hospitality, and you're trying to influence me, and I love that I appreciate it totally, but no, thank you. That's it. You know, and they will understand. And people who love you and know that you're struggling and you want to lose weight will support you. And, you know, it was tough. I'll admit the first couple of months was very hard because I do enjoy my glass of wine occasionally. And it was rough because I decided to give it up. I just figured that it wasn't worth the calories because it's about 100 and something, I think 110 calories a glass. And when I have a glass of wine, I have a glass of wine. So it's a couple hundred calories, and I decided that I didn't want to do that anymore. I wanted to eat my food instead of drink my calories, and so I made that option for me. So now when I'm at a party, I drink my water. Sometimes I'll have something, you know, to drink, you know, mix it with seltzer water or whatever, or I just opt out, and that's okay. The people who love me will understand, and if they don't, then that's their issue, and it's not mine. Okay? So keep in mind that there's always alternatives to eating emotionally. There are always other options. I had mentioned at the beginning of today's session that I had a really, really, really tough day, and it wasn't work related. There's some stuff going on in my life, and it is what it is. There's stuff that will always happen in people's lives. But ultimately, I had, you know, a choice. Okay, I did search my kitchen high and low for food to eat, and there was nothing there, thank goodness. But I opted to go to the gym. I took a 5:30 class, and it was a high impact cardio class where they did you know, squats and burpees and jumping jacks and everything. And I can tell you, I feel like $1,000,000. I feel so much better afterwards. It got out a lot of the emotional stuff. If you're not a big exerciser, that's okay. You don't have to do that. Maybe go outside, go for a walk, get some sunshine, stay away from the kitchen, read a book, call a friend. You know, treat yourself to a hot cup of tea. That's something that always helps me, because, you know, oftentimes it's this hand to mouth motion that you want when you're feeling emotional. I don't know why that is. I haven't done enough research on it, but you just feel this hand to mouth. And you want that soothing. So try the hot cup of tea. It gives you something to hold. It keeps your hand busy. And it soothes you a little bit, because, you know, I can't do it fast because it's so hot. You know, if it's in the evening, take a bath, you know, watch a movie, talk to friends, go to the mall and walk around. You don't have to shop, but you can walk around. Read a good book, see, you know, do scrapbooking, take a class, you know, clean out your closet, go look at some of your pants that are a little big and snug and realize you don't want to be in those pants anymore. And those will motivate you. You know, outreach to friends on Facebook that you haven't talked to in a while. And if you're struggling, you can always message me too. I'm happy to talk to you. It's you know, it's about taking control of your life and being mindful. And Esther had said early on that, you know, being mindful, and when you switch from eating mindlessly to eating mindfully, it's a huge transition, you know. Because you're going from just eating whatever you feel like eating, right? You know, in my old world, let me show you these again, because I'm just so damn proud of myself, okay? This gal would eat whatever she wanted. I would wake up in the morning, I would have cereal and milk, then I'd have a bagel and cream cheese, then I would have, you know, Lord knows what else, bacon, then I would have a yogurt somewhere in the day, and I would think, oh, you know, I had, then I would have, you know, whatever. Mom, your question just threw me off. What if you don't, my mom wants to know, what if you don't have friends? Then I think it's a good opportunity for you to go out and make friends if you don't have friends. Everybody has somebody to talk to. Everybody has somebody in their life that loves you. So go ahead and call somebody that you love and talk to them. All right? Or get out, go to the gym, walk around your neighborhood, say hello to people that you've never met before. It could be Michelle about the pacifier. That's a good thing. Yep, that's a good point. It could be very orally fixated, as Freud would say. Absolutely. And Wendy, thank you. I appreciate that. I feel like this mission to help and influence other people, to help motivate them to lose weight, because I feel like it's a calling for me. I feel like if I could do this truthfully, because, you know, many of you have known me for many years. Obviously, my mom knows me. Esther's known me since elementary school. You know, Lisa's known me since high school. It's just, I've been heavy the majority of my life. And if I could actually make this change, then anybody can make it. So anyway, so it's going from eating whatever you want to being conscious of it and being aware of it. So when you're feeling emotional, when you're feeling like you're ready to eat, take inventory. Take an inventory of yourself. Think, where is this coming from? Think about the last time you ate, what you ate, and if it's true that you might actually be physically hungry. And take a drink of water, drink something, let it absorb in your body, wait a little while, walk around for a little bit, and then if you're really hungry afterwards, then make a healthy choice for yourself. Don't go for the candy bar. It's not worth it. It's 360 calories of fat that's going to go straight to your ass, and really, you don't need it. Think about how long you're going to have to exercise to burn that off, and how hard you've worked to lose the weight that you've lost and to get to where you are. It's just not worth the 360 calories. Now, if you really want chocolate and you really want that candy bar, then take a little tiny piece of that candy bar and then put the rest of it away or throw it in the garbage. But don't eat the whole damn thing. It's just not worth it. Okay? So that's really all I have for today. We're going to talk about mindful eating next time, but I really wanted to, just make sure that we touched on emotional eating because my last blog focused on regret, which is a huge emotion. A lot of times in our lives, we think about all the things that we've done or didn't do and all the decisions that we've made and how we regret it. So let go of the regret, let go of the emotions. There's some really good advice in the regret blog. I also wrote something about an incident that happened last year when I was in Houston and how I got emotional and ate. So I wanted to make sure that I touched on emotional eating this week. Exercise does help. There's a lot of things that can help. And there's some wonderful articles. I'm also, if you check out my my Pinterest page, it's Healthy Mama B on Pinterest. I started putting together some things that you could use to help you cope with emotional eating a little bit better. So check that out if you have some time. And if you have any questions, please, outreach to me. Again, I'm Gail, Healthy Mama B. Check out my blog, healthy-mamab.com. And I thank you all for joining. Thank you. And remember, if I can do this, you can do this. I'll talk to you soon. Good night.